Hello, welcome to The Starting Point. My name is Demetrius Minor, and today is Election Day in America. Two states in particular, the Garden State of New Jersey and the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, these two states are very, very, very important because this is a possible outlook on how the midterms in 2010 will look. We want to look at the state of Virginia, where the Republican challenger is Bob McDonnell and the Democrat challenger is Craig Deeds. Now, Deeds is not faring too well according to the polls. He's down by roughly 7 to 14%. So Deeds has asked all of the Democrat megastars to come help him out on his campaign, such as Bill Clinton and President Obama. Now, the big question and the big factor is, will this pay off? Traditionally, Virginia votes opposite of the party that is in the White House. So on that note, you can make your decision on that. But Virginia is looking to go back into the red column after Barack Obama won the state of Virginia in the 2008 presidential election. Another important factor is that Bob McDonnell, the Republican challenger, has received the endorsement of BET, which is Black Entertainment, co-founder Robert Johnson and his wife. And some polls show that he is receiving 31% of the African American vote. That will be a miracle if that poll is true. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. In the second governor's race, we have the Democrat incumbent Jon Corzine versus Chris Christie, who is the Republican state attorney general. Now, New Jersey is a very, very important state. Voters have to take into consideration a few of these issues. Number one, New Jersey has the highest property tax and unemployment in the region. Also, New Jersey faces an $8 to $10 billion deficit by next year. So on that note, Jon Corzine is facing very high unpopularity right now, and he has a lot of convincing to do in order to be reelected. Now, there was an interesting ad that Jon Corzine came out with, considering his opponent, Chris Christie, who, let's say Christie's a rather large guy. And Corzine's ad said that Christie, quote, puts his weight around when it comes to traffic violations. As far as Christie is concerned, this election will not be over until the fat guy sings. Moving on to a more important issue, everyone knows about the ongoing war in Afghanistan. It was noted that October was the deadliest month for our military personnel. And as the situation continues to deteriorate and get worse, there's a couple of questions that the American people want answered. Number one, when will the White House come out with an effective strategy to combat the insurgencies by the Taliban in Afghanistan? Number two, what will the Afghanistan government do to help their people? Karzai has won re-election once again. Now, that puts very, very little optimism in the United States because Karzai, in his first term, we can say he was highly ineffective and very incompetent. He failed to get the Taliban out of Afghanistan, and there's not really an educated class in that country. So with the corruptness of the Karzai regime, which ranges from his brothers and his family being heavily involved in the opium trade, there's very high concern that this corruptness will continue. Now, the president is hearing various voices on this issue. You have Vice President Biden and the Chief of Staff, Rahm Emanuel, who want us not to necessarily have a troop surge, but to focus more on Pakistan and the mountainous areas where the Taliban could be. But one of the voices that has been very outspoken in this issue is General Stanley McChrystal. Now, General Stanley McChrystal sees the day-to-day operations in Afghanistan. Now, General McChrystal is not just some military voice that's asking for more troops. He has lots of experience in military affairs. For example, he's a West Point graduate in 1976, served as commander in the First Persian Gulf War. He was appointed Chief of Staff of Military Operations in Afghanistan in the year 2001. In 2006, he led a special ops team that was responsible for the capture of Saddam Hussein. And his leadership has been mountly credited by General David Petraeus and other military generals in the Middle East region. So now, the White House says that they're roughly a couple of weeks away from making a decision. Now, we all know that war is a very tough issue. Nobody likes it. Everyone dreads it. But the fact of the matter is that during the campaign, President Obama repeatedly said that this is the right war. General Stanley McChrystal is asking for a troop surge of an additional 40,000 troops. Now that sounds astronomical, but the fact is that the longer we wait, it's a possibility Afghanistan might be out of control. So who will Obama listen to? The vice president? The public who is getting dissatisfied with this war? Or will he listen to the commander on the ground who see the day-to-day operation? When we return, we're going to talk about a domestic war that's happening on our front, the White House versus Fox News. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.